Tanjiro Kamado says goodbye to his family as they see him off. With a basket of charcoal on his back, he makes his way to the village at the bottom of the mountain. Upon arrival, the villagers happily greet him, thanking him for all his help while he sells them charcoal. With his basket empty and night approaching fast, it's time to make the trek through the snow up the mountain. At the foot, he's stopped by an elderly man who offers him lodging for the night. It's too dangerous. Doesn't he know demons hunt at night? Tanjiro is reminded of his grandmother, who spoke of demons, but assures the man his keen sense of smell will keep him safe in the snowstorm. He won't take no for an answer, however, and Tanjiro is forced to accept. He sets off up the mountain the following morning. Tanjiro notices the scent of blood as he approaches his family's home. Panicked, he rushes, only to find his worst nightmare come true. His family lay slaughtered, door ajar, blood staining the freshly fallen snow. His sister, Nezuko, is the only one that's still warm. He picks her up, intent on finding a doctor. Suddenly, Nezuko stirs, in a strange, animalistic state, clearly no longer human. They struggle and careen off a cliff into the snow below. When he comes to, Nezuko attacks him, while Tanjiro tries to get through to his sister. The malice in her eyes disappears for a moment, and she begins to cry. When a young swordsman appears, racing towards the pair, Tanjiro pushes her out of the way. The swordsman is furious and demands to know why he's protecting a demon. Tanjiro explains that it's his younger sister, but the young swordsman isn't having it. He frantically tries to convince him that there was another scent at the scene, and his sister does not eat humans. He insists that he's going to find a way to change her back, but the swordsman tells him it's irreversible. Tanjiro gets on his knees and begs him to spare her as he holds a sword to her throat. Reminded of his own family, the swordsman berates Tanjiro, telling him that being weak will just get him killed. His failure led to his sister being captured, and there's no way he'll be able to protect her. Filled with rage, Tanjiro gets up and launches a frontal attack. He throws a stone at the swordsman and rushes directly towards him with his hatchet, but the swordsman knocks him unconscious before he can get in for a hit. But the hatchet is gone. Where? Suddenly, the hatchet becomes lodged in a tree right beside the swordsman's head. Impressed that Tanjiro distracted him with the stone to get in a hit after he was unconscious, Nezuko breaks free and approaches her unconscious brother. But instead of devouring him, she turns towards the swordsman and protects him. The swordsman sheathes his sword and knocks Nezuko unconscious, deciding to spare them both. When Tanjiro wakes, he finds his sister beside him with a bamboo muzzle. The demon slayer tells him to find an old man who lives at the foot of Mount Sagiri and mention his name. He also cautions him against exposing his sister to sunlight. After the swordsman disappears, Tanjiro and his sister set off. Tanjiro procures a basket, straw, and bamboo from a farmer on the way to Mount Sagiri and fashions it into a backpack for his sister so they can travel during the day without worrying about the sun. The two stop at a temple as night approaches. As they walk up the stairs, Tanjiro catches the scent of blood and finds a demon inside, feasting on a corpse. The demon turns and attacks, defending its territory. Tanjiro barely dodges while slashing the demon's throat with his hatchet. Nezuko runs to save her brother, overcoming her desire to eat, and kicks the demon's head clean off. Believing the demon is dead, Tanjiro is surprised when its body starts healing itself, and the severed head continues talking, even growing arms. He uses his hatchet to pin the demon's head to a tree while he attacks the body and senselessly tackles it off a cliff, but his sister pulls him back before he falls. Not sure how to kill the demon, Tanjiro stands there when a masked man appears behind him and tells him he can't kill it with a knife. He waits too long, and the sun comes up, killing the demon for him. The masked man senses he might be too kind, even to kill a demon. The man introduces himself, and Tanjiro figures it's the man he was sent to find. Though he doesn't think Tanjiro has what it takes to be a demon slayer, he gives his old apprentice the benefit of the doubt and decides to test him. After running back to his home at the foot of the mountain, Orokadaki tells him that this is where the real test begins. He follows the masked man up the mountain until he stops suddenly. If Tanjiro can make it back down before sunrise, he'll agree to train him. Piece of cake, right? On his way back down, Tanjiro learns pretty quickly that the whole mountain is booby-trapped. It's going to be a lot harder than he thought. After a grueling night of avoiding traps, Tanjiro barely makes it down just in time for sunrise. Remembering Gyu's letter, Odokodaki agrees to train the boy and look after his demon sister. To begin his training, he must descend the mountain. As each descent becomes easier, the traps become deadlier until he's allowed to carry a sword, which helps but also hinders. He's not used to the extra weight. The man then teaches him how to use the sword in battle. He teaches Tanjiro a special breathing technique called total concentration breathing and promises to show him how to use all 10 forms of water breathing, which is his specialty. He practices everything the man taught him for the next 6 months, but he's only able to scratch the surface. Frustrated, Tanjiro looks up to see a boy in a fox mask appear on top of a boulder, telling him to stop whining. The boy jumps off the boulder and tells him to charge at him and laughs when Tanjiro worries that the boy only has a wooden sword. Clearly, it's more than enough. He berates Tanjiro for not learning anything. Simply repeating from memory doesn't make one a master. He needs to pound the lessons into his body so he never forgets, until they become second nature. After he knocks Tanjiro unconscious, he says he's leaving the rest to a small girl who appears. When Tanjiro wakes up, the girl introduces herself as Makomo and the boy as Sabito. She stresses the importance of total concentration breathing, telling him that the only way to truly master it is to practice it until it kills him. For the next 6 months, that's exactly what he does. Well, he stops before it kills him, but he comes close. One day, Tanjiro is confident that he'll finally beat Sabito one-on-one. They both lunge at each other. It's over in an instant. Tanjiro's blade slices through Sabito's mask, revealing a smile underneath. He's finally ready. The next thing he knows, the 2 mysterious children are gone. It wasn't the mask he cut through, but the boulder. Tanjiro attributes his success to finding the opening thread. When he picks up a scent, it manifests itself as a thread that guides his blade to an opening. Odokodaki appears behind him, confessing that he thought cutting the boulder would prove impossible. He set that as a goal because he didn't want to send another student to their death in the final selection. He has nothing more to teach him, but this isn't the end of his hardships, only the beginning. Odokodaki tells Tanjiro that demons gain strength in proportion to the number of people they've eaten, with some gaining the ability to use blood demon arts. As he departs, Tanjiro tells him to say hi to the 2 children he met, which shocks Odokodaki. How could he possibly know the names of the dead? Arriving at final selection, Tanjiro is amazed by the out-of-season wisteria surrounding the mountain. A pair of twin girls explains how demons hate the flower, and as such, they're trapped on the mountain. Whoever survives among them for 7 days passes the final selection. On the first day, a demon attacks from above, only to get into an argument with another that appears, allowing Tanjiro to kill both at once. They both turn to ash. Just like Odokodaki explained, the Demon Slayer's Nichirin swords are the only thing other than the sun that can kill demons. Tanjiro picks up an awful scent, and hearing another applicant's screams, he turns to see a giant demon covered in arms chasing them. After seeing it swallow another applicant whole, Tanjiro steps in to save the other. The demon becomes enraged after asking whether they're in the same era, perceiving just how long it's been confined to the mountain. It admits that it's eaten at least 50 would-be demon slayers, including 13 of Odokodaki's students. He targets them, since it was Odokodaki who imprisoned him on the mountain 47 years prior. When the demon describes Makomo and Sabito, Tanjiro is shocked to learn they're dead, and this demon is the reason why. The demon uses his emotions against him, inciting Tanjiro to lose control and attack him while enraged. Makomo worries whether Tanjiro can win. Though Sabito can't say for certain, he was the one who cut through the largest boulder. Tanjiro headbutts the demon's arm and runs along it, getting closer than the demon thought he could, though not worried. His neck is extremely thick, almost as thick as his skull. Tanjiro uses water breathing and severs the demon's head using first form water surface slash. Tanjiro approaches the demon's rapidly dissipating form, detecting a scent of sadness, and extends his hand, praying that he does not become a demon in his next life. In the fog, Tanjiro sees the souls of all the other students who weren't as lucky, finally able to rest. Over the next few days, Tanjiro tries to find a way to change his sister back, but none of the demons he asks has an answer, or is even willing to answer. After 7 days, Tanjiro finds himself back at the shrine where they began, surprised to see that only 4 survived final selection. The twins explain that there are 10 ranks. They start at the lowest, Mizunoto. They are each assigned a crow for communication. Well, 3 crows and 1 sparrow? One of the boys demands his Nichirin katana and is only angered further for having to wait 15 days for it to be forged from ore they select themselves. Meanwhile, a man receives notice from a Kasugai crow that there are 5 survivors in total. An exhausted Tanjiro drags himself back to Odo Kodaki's and finds Nezuko awake for the first time since they arrived. Odo Kodaki sees the two and embraces them. He hypothesizes that instead of eating humans, Nezuko can sleep to recover her strength. After 15 days, Tanjiro's katana is finally ready. The swordsmith is excited upon seeing his hair color, expecting to see the blade turn bright red, but he's disappointed when the blade turns black. Apparently, not much is known about the properties of black blades, which makes them a bad omen, as their users usually don't live long. After receiving his first mission, Tanjiro dons his Demon Slayer Corps uniform, a strong, lightweight fiber resistant to lesser demon fangs. Odo Kodaki hands him a box to carry Nezuko in. Arriving in the town of his first mission, Tanjiro crosses paths with Kazumi, the last person to see the latest victim alive. He takes Tanjiro to the site of his significant other's disappearance. A girl makes her way to bed in another part of town. A dark, inky spot on the floor follows her. 2 arms sprout from the floor as the spot envelops her. Tanjiro picks up the scent and rushes to find her, but the alley he's led to is empty. He stabs the ground where the scent is strongest, revealing the demon and girl lurking below the surface. Demanding to know where the other girls are only garners angry screeching from the demon. He gives the girl to Kazumi, who's shocked to find out demons exist. He remembers the last bit of information Odo Kodaki shared. The first to become a demon over 1,000 years ago is the only one who can create them, Muzan Kibutsuji, and may be the only one who can answer his questions. Tanjiro tries hitting the demon below the surface, but misses all its vulnerable spots. There are 3 of them, or are there? All 3 demons smell the same, and it becomes obvious that one demon split into 3. After missing again, the demon tries to grab Tanjiro. Right before it reaches him, Nezuko escapes from her box and protects him. Thank you for sticking until the end. Subscribe for more videos like this.